This is Hasina checking in from Newcastle, South Africa. And I saw a bee in the bathroom this morning, and it reminded me to be in the moment. And just offering no resistance, because my body's not like I'm feeling a little under the weather and my body's not feeling great, so just resting and offering no resistance to the moment. Sometimes when you're under the weather, it's the best thing because you don't have the strength to offer any resistance. You can just let things be. It's a good day.
Annelies checking in from Vreeland. Yes, it's beautiful. I had a little, we call it a koolmees, it's a little bird in my garden room. And there were all kinds of insects that had passed. And he was eating it, but also wanted to get out. And I was brave enough to go in because I do not like that birds get in panic and that they fly around my head. Because then I get a little panic as well. But then I thought, no, I can go in, and I hold it, my hand like this, and I said, this is the way out, this is the way out. Well, and it took another insect and then dropped on the floor, and then he saw where he could leave and left without any harm. So, yeah. So it's about leaving space and also knowing the way out. And probably knowing the way in as well for the coming time. But I have to let go of a lot, very, very many things at the moment. And my arm is still not well, so I'm recovering from that as well. And I'm okay. I'm very curious to know what our next steps are going to be.
Oh, Mr. Robert calling in from Uganda. I woke up early in the morning thinking how we can love and help our neighbors from what they are going through. And in 2 hours back, managed to go and distribute scholastic materials to 30 children in nearby school from my community. I'm happy to meet you this morning. Thank you.
Hi everyone, Sabina from Cologne, Germany. feels ages ago that I was in this meeting. Really happy to be here again. Today is a religious day in Germany. They celebrate some sacrament. So there is no school, no work, no nothing. So I'm going to try to do nothing today, which is a hard thing for me to do nothing. I'm always doing something. So my body's a bit shaky too. I had very intense times. And yeah, there was water in my cellar, so it was very raining. And I hope today my cellar will be clear. And yeah, very challenging times, but I managed to work it out. And I haven't done anything so far for World Unity Week. I don't know if I'll still jump into something, if there's something that calls me, and if it still works, maybe I pop up somewhere. Otherwise, I also just enjoy doing nothing. Yeah, that's sort of my part for now.
Just arrived back after midnight last night with long travels back from Ibiza. After an amazing week with Anne-Marie and so many wonderful people, it was really felt like a homecoming. It just felt like coming home. It was very beautiful. And now listening to everyone, I was sorry I didn't hear all of yours, Annalise. But knowing, in fact, there's so many different worlds, I'm feeling like I haven't caught up with my skin quite yet. Just so many different worlds, so many different realities, so much is happening right now on the planet. And it's just, I suppose I feel a little bit like a butterfly, just watching and moving and playing. And it's lovely to be back with you. Thank you. And thank you so much, Anne-Marie, for all you did for us. It was amazing. Thank you. Feeling so much gratitude.
Calling in from Vreeland. Annemarie, yes. I also just got in yesterday evening. I came in Rotterdam, but met with people of the team to do a walk through a part of Rotterdam, looking through the eyes of an architect and a social architect. Which was nice, but it was actually a little bit much also to add to. Because it was non-stop, wasn't it? Yeah. But it was also good. So we can see more later. And as you hear, my voice is a bit gone, but a bit of a cough. But I think my body says, oh. I wanted to say hi.
Apple cider vinegar, Annemarie. Gargle with it. It's amazing. welcome back, Rosa. I think it's just you and Anya to check in.
And Amelie.
Oh, and Amelie, I'm so sorry, Amelie.
Good morning, everyone. I'll jump in. Great to be here. And the two words that keep coming up this morning are inspired and wired. I've been working on a project for quite some time, and in the last few days, I have had some kind of surge to the point whereby yesterday I actually worked until 4 o'clock this morning. I worked through the night, and I kept thinking, should I really do this? But I was wired and things were coming, and I thought, okay, let's go with the flow. And so I woke up to be here. So I'm a little wired from also lack of sleep. But super happy to be with you all. Thank you.
This is Amelie from Amsterdam. This is a period of doing nothing, which I don't mention in the name of nothing doing, because a whole new perspective is unfolding for me. I had a thing in my brain where you get dizzy and it's a story in the ears. So then you have to do nothing and just be flat. And in that doing nothing, my soul started to be totally clear and having a whole view for my future. So I'm in a very happy space somehow, although my body is suffering a lot. Happy to see you all. I don't know how long I can stay here, but I'm here.
Good morning, everyone. This is Anya. I'm checking in from Germany, and it's totally cold here and dizzy and cloudy. And I just came from Italy, back where I had a beautiful day, few days at the ocean. And I'm bringing to you, all of you, the energy of a beautiful sunrise, which I was enjoying after having no sleep. And I said, okay, then just get up and look what's happening outside. And then I had a beautiful sunrise, seeing with which power the sun is coming up. And maybe that's what I needed, but I wanted to share it with you. It had been beautiful to just sit and observe the greater happening, and knowing a few of us doing like secret agents, being somewhere where they, as I kept a little bit of your stories, being there where they belong to be. And I'm so happy to know all of you, and that we share what we share.
Well, before we go on, I'd just love us to just send healing energy to our collective. I know Annalise, her arm is healing, Amelie, Anna Marie. Like, let's just, whoever needs healing in whatever way, let's just send it. Sabina, you also spoke about it.
And Hasina.
Thank you. Thank you. And now, just handing over to Anna Marie and Juliet if you want to share about visa.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa, for the healing. You did quite some work like that with, you're not hearing me good?
It's possibly my sound, I don't know. Oh.
No, my sound is not so good. I'll try and speak up a bit. With Lynn McTaggart, because she was there. So we did some healing work. Some people really had an upshift of healing, including somebody walking on crutches, not walking on crutches anymore. And yeah, and her sharing the work she was also doing in Israel and Gaza. And yes, it doesn't lead to peaceful, it does lead to so many people experiencing the healing and really that, because the people that show up and do the healing work, as I think we experience, they themselves get touched in the heart and open up, and they do touch people around them. So if you look at that, how that exponentially grows, that's still quite a significant number of people. And so that is one of her ongoing reasons to continue the work, how it contributes. I'm also curious to hear a little bit, Rosa, what's firing you up, because I can see you are kind of like in different and if you wish to see some clarity, but maybe that will come next week. I'm curious to hear from Juliet, because my voice is not so good, but also Juliet was experiencing in a different way than I was. Juliet,
Oh, Anne-Marie, I'm so sorry for your voice. Yes, I'll give you a break. Anne-Marie was amazing. She was one of the key pins of the whole process. And unfortunately, I wasn't really prepared at all this morning. I should have brought some of my notes and things, or the program even, but basically it was fun. It felt like a homecoming. There was so much joy and love. And I think we were 140 or something participants altogether, something like that. Well, well over 100 anyways. And Cara was fantastic. And there were presentations from different aspects and segments. And so some of it was at the beginning to define the hollow movement, you know, and looking at David Bohm's work. And Will Pippin gave a wonderful presentation on that, and just explaining where we're at and how we've got here in terms of the hollow movement, following David Bohm's research of reality and how we've kind of moved towards that in this joining of this movement between the implicate and the explicate orders, you know, between Shiva and Shakti, between Purusha and Prakriti, the manifest, the unmanifest, the changing, the unchanging, and that wave. And so it was explained that this is very much a movement. It's dynamic. It's not a state. It's not an organization as such, but it's a dynamic movement, expressing this movement and of life. And then we had 4 different streams we could choose between in the 3 days. So you could only choose 3 out of 4. And they were fantastic workshops, about 2.5 hours, where we had brilliant presenters. And one of them was on AI and technology, and the future, where it's at, what's happening there, and the possibilities, and, you know, a discussion on that. Another one was not radical. It's something like, it's about around flourishing, something about flourishing, but it was just, there was one on collaboration, one on flourishing, and all in love, that love in action, and then the AI. So they were deep, because in each session, you know, you did partner work. So you could dive quite deep. Some of it involved visualization, writing in your journal. Were there messages that your guides were giving you at this time? What was your next step? And that type of thing. But in a group that was quite cohesive, and which was very, very, very nice. There was lots of celebration. There was dance and music. And yeah, the whole thing just felt like a big homecoming party, you know, everybody coming together with their gifts, with what they had to offer, sharing, getting to know each other, but yet feeling that we were already a community. And of course it was in beautiful Ibiza. So the weather was lovely, the palms and the sea and the sunshine and the warmth and the flowers and the colors. Yeah, it was a very, very, very generous, very free-flowing, joyous, and very informative, just full of so much knowledge from so many different. I was actually, one thing that really pleasantly surprised me was how many people were there from the economic, and with an economic background. So Sarah McCrum was there, and she gave a talk about, you know, brighter than green or something like that. But the green, the new economies. There were a few people talking about that, and that was great. And then there were, of course, scientists and people and healers and people from the social backgrounds, but people who, most of us, I think, have been working on this for decades in our life. So it was really a fantastic homecoming with people from all over the world. And one of the aspects, of course, of the Love in Action was that we spent one evening at Hunter's Farm, which was a project that was initiated by some Danish young people, and they've bought a lot of land there, and they're trying to do regenerative. Well, they are doing regenerative agriculture. I couldn't believe they'd only been there for 2 years. But really a living example of this, where there'll be an intentional community, but all aspects of basically, you know, the needs that one has, that a group, a community has, trying to cover that. So whether it be, you know, all the from the food side, and because it's on a place that had been, it was called a vaqueria because all the cows had been there. So there was the land was very fertile already. It hadn't had chemicals and things sprayed on it. It had lots and lots of organic matter on it because along with all the organic matter from animals, there had been a horticultural center there before too. So there was a lot of organic matter from plants. Or I don't know if it was horticulture or if it was some kind of plant based. But I gathered that they didn't use poisons on the land. So it was very fertile land, and they were making wine, and they were they were growing food, but the whole thing was working with the soil and an education center. And I hadn't realized actually that they're so open to the public, because the next day I met a woman from Holland, actually, who was just visiting the island. And she said she was going there for an evening supper, that they offer dinners there regularly. So I guess that's one of the way that they make money. One of the things that struck me on Ibiza, this wasn't to do with the Holo movement, but it was part of the context for me of just what's happening on the planet. We were staying with very dear old friends who live in the middle of the island in a very quiet, very rural place. And they were just saying that the olive trees and the almond trees are dying at a fast rate now. They're all dying from this bacteria that they believe had come from one of the Canary Islands, but it's hit this place now. It's going around. And so they had on their farm, they had olive trees that were over 1,000 years old. It used to be an olive farm, and they're just all dying. They said, they make beautiful sculptures, but and it's hit the almond trees and also I know there's another one, these chumbas. I don't know what chumbaveras, I think they call them, but they're the cacti with the lovely flowers, and I have a beautiful fruit. And in 19 we'd been in Morocco and seen it hit there, and now there was a landscape of a lot of, although there was lots of flourishing, there was these dead and dying and withering things that would have been beautiful like 5 years ago, and are now another side of the reality that we're all into. So that was very present of this change, this Holo movement. Everything's in flux, everything's in change. Things we used to think were what it was is now changing. Everything's moving, death, life continuum. And anyways, I'm probably not doing it all justice to the Holo movement. There were some. It was a fantastic gathering and wonderful to meet and network with so many people. And yes, Anne-Marie, I'm very excited and keen if we can find some way that I can feed in with the European, or in whatever manner that feels right. I'd love to work more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Juliette. Nice to hear that perspective. And yes, a very conscious group between the 140 and 200. It depended. Sometimes we were with more than with others. About 35 people from the island also regularly joined us and then left again. But all very conscious, people that have been focused on their own training and in collaborating. So we're doing some research around coherence to see whether there is an exceptional, or you could feel there is a certain coherence in this context, and how can we mirror that back, and what can we learn from that. I won't say too much now. How many of you are in the peace thread, in the peace WhatsApp thread? I know you are there. Yeah, most of you. Sabine, you're there as well, aren't you? Yeah, I see you sometimes post something there.
In the Peace Week threads, yes, you are.
And Robert is there. Maybe Rosa, if you want to be there as well, because Kara gave kind of like an overview of some of the things, and I'll see if I can add more. But then you can see it there. I don't need to. I can repost it in our thread if you want that. But it can also you can also see it there, and I think we'll continue. But one of the things. I wasn't part of the design of the event itself. Yes, I was space holding, and of course we were looking at coherence and things like that, but I wasn't part of the design itself. And I somehow would have loved to see if we could have more dedicated, really focused time in co-creating and further enhancing what we're doing. And it's also all good because the 2 days that I stayed longer, there was such a fire in people to, well, we've done all this work, now let's get our act together, let's get things done. So sometimes you just not do that, because then you can activate the self-enhancing power even more. So it's not so much a judgment whether it's good or not, it's just an observation of expectation. Also because last year in Sedona, that was totally focused on developing the social and the energetic architecture to materialize a whole movement. So there was, for quite a few of the those that were there, had been in Sedona, that were expecting that. So I think there is potent, and so we've said that in World Unity Week, the 99 Days of Peace Towards Peace Week, we're going to even more amplify that capacity to co-create together. So we're going to have a less fully scheduled with, I don't know how many conversions rooms programs, and we're going to give that example by doing in room 1 only 2 time slots, kind of. One that is more our time, in which we are looking at, as the Hague Center, looking at who would like to play in that time zone. Do something in one of the days. Each day has a theme, and that comes out of actually what people have been putting in the pledge. I don't know if any of you have seen the pledge that came out of part of the work that we were doing in order to organize Palenque, Unite Humanity, Restore Mother Earth. And there you can put some things in, and John has analyzed that, and out of that, and also out of our February conference, themes came up, so we're taking that on. And so I heard in the check-in somebody saying, shall I, or what should I do in World Unity Week? Well, the invitation is there, and also know that it's going to be a little bit more focused on next actions. So really seeing if we can do that more. So the mission that we have, the gifts that we have, the needs that we can really co-create that space. So really feel invited to do that, and also less fully packed. And I think for the Holo movement, although we haven't spoken yet with the team, we'll do that next week. We're going to be looking at how can we bring the Holo movement more to Europe, because it is more alive in the USA, and I think it is a container, and as it's being created, which can resonate with certain more rational minded, economically driven people. I mean that's why I'm serving the movement, because I think it's one of these. It's not a niche, but it's a way of inviting people in with the same underlying connecting unity of narrative, but then related to David Bohm and other scientists. So it has a little bit of another type of framing, which attracts other people, which is great. And like Juliette was already saying, it was much more easy in this context to get people. It's also the time, but it's also the narrative and David Bohm that was made it easier to bring in people with a financial or economic background, or somebody like the Google guy that stayed the whole week and joined in everything. and was also really, enjoying himself and contributing, and other people like that as well. So yeah, to see how we could also in this space, these weekly calls, if there is a resonance to also invite and bring in others that are perhaps attracted to this holo movement vision, to whatever way we do it. That would be one of my questions, whether we feel that fits, whether we want that here. Otherwise, it's going to be another time, it's going to be another setup. If you prefer to hold this like this group, more feminine emergent conversations, then that's also fine. Then I'll find another time slot, do another weekly calls with that call, because I also want to honor the space that we have created together. But it could also be a nice practice to see how in this space, in this kind of setting, like we have done before, also we can invite others to join, and to see if we can make that dance from the feminine masculine more present in these calls. But I just I want to say, I want to also honor the space we have created here, and we don't need to answer that now, but I would love us to let that percolate and sink in and think about it. And it's 11:11 here, so I'll stop.
Then I step in because I really want to share something on behalf of coherence. I'm wondering what is needed to be in coherence with it all. I'm working with David Bohm my hardly whole life in work from 2007. I was going in all these courses and all these aspects which are now coming together also in holo movement. But it was an interesting fact that I felt that I never could come in the holo movement. So if I tried to, then it was not possible to access, because either it was no holo movement or what I wanted. And so I was wondering how that works if that's only working for me like this, and also in this space where I've held it so much, also the power of 8. And so what is it what's mine to do, except for knowing that I'm a strong space holder. I've been that for this space, but also for you, Annemarie, in person, for many years now, from 2015. So what I feel is some way of disconnection. I also feel like what's going on. So this group is now honoring this group, but really what's necessary for us to truly be invited and work with us. Yeah, so this is what I just need to say, nothing to bring down, but really to make sure that I can align and also feel that where I'm touched in my heart and where my heart sings from, that I can bring that in and not being like I feel like just someone on the watching the football play, but I want to play, and I feel I cannot help it. It's this enormous sadness in me about that. So much sadness I cannot say, and I just want to acknowledge that. Yes. I want to acknowledge that. I just wonder if I'm the only one. So if I'm the only one, it's probably me, but I do not believe that. And I've been I'm holding so much individually for people here, local, in a bigger space. It's not that my life is not, it's there's so much. But this is also about my work, my life's work, what I've been trained for. And now I look at it and, so I so totally believe in a holo movement. And And I feel that I could not join because of money, because I had not the money to do that. And also that makes me sad because I trained with Sarah McCrum. I did her money workshops. I trained with her in her energy work. So it feels like, am I doing something wrong or something here? So what do I do? So if there is no coherence, so what will we do to bring that and honor this space, and so that I can align, because I love to align. And if it's my time that I step out, if there's part of that I have to let go of this as well, which I would really feel very much sadness and also very much not right, but you do not know what source wants you to do, but I just want to honor this. I just want to bring this in. And of course, not doing anything to bring down the energy or the frequencies that you just brought, but also, well, I've been with you for a long time now, so.
Thank you, Annalise. May I offer something before Juliet speaks? I just want to say that, I find that, well, I'm not the only one in healing energy. I think there are a lot of us here, and just that collective space where there are a lot of us, it feels like, one's feelings and the change is so heightened in these times. So I kind of think that you brought up such vulnerability and such good points that are within you. And I would say, for me, when that happens, just allow it to kind of be until until the change is over, and that healing period is over and one is more aligned. And then, definitely as a collective, it would be great to be able to see. I just feel that when one is healing, there's just too much flux to even consider. So I don't know if you agree, but it's, yeah. And we love having you, just be you here. So, and sending you a lot of love and light right now.
Thank you so much. But it's not only the healing. I totally hear you, but it's also before my broken arm. And of course, from shadow. Of course. I can see that. But it's also, if things are speeding up, I want to be there. Okay. It's also, I need to be there. Yeah.
Juliet?
Thank you, Annalise. Cool. I'll wait till you come back because I wanted to talk to you. Thank you so much, Annalise, for saying that. To me, that's really a crux point, because I think that's where many people, many, you speak for so many people. For me, the Hala movement, the whole structure of it is exactly to embrace every diverse group of people working on very diverse projects as Hollands. So the way I see it is that, like a cell in a body, we each have very different things we can bring to our body. We have cells in our brain, in our eyes, in our mouth, in our rectum, in our toes, in our muscles, in our bloodstream. Everything is working for the good of the whole, and everything has its diverse role. And the beauty of it is when each of them can flourish and thrive and be excited, enthusiastic, to give its best so that the whole has a healthy well-being and it serves the good of the whole, and the whole can thrive. We've had a culture that's been working and training us to be cancers and autoimmune disease within a greater whole. And so that's, the whole idea that this is a very separate thing than that, and that won't, won't necessarily be in coherence with any of that. That's a reality because it's an interpretation, it's a perception that our world has created. Within the Hollow movement, what I feel is that they've really that it has, as a movement, it is the manifestation, a physical manifestation of the theory of the Hollow movement, the movement of life changing and unchanging. And therefore every group, I mean, in this Hollow movement, they're asking for people to be 3 people or more to create a whole on, because otherwise, I guess if you have 1 or 2 people, it could get quite scattered, but 3 people or more that are focused on whatever makes your heart sing, whatever you are here to do. And to say, here I am, I'm a cell in this body too, and this is my contribution. This is where I can, this is my role. And I'm flourishing in my role, and I'll flourish even more when I know that I'm part of a flourishing whole, because everybody's supporting one another. Just like if you get an infection somewhere in your body, the whole body conspires to heal that section or to help that section. So it will work with the blood cells, it'll work with the nervous system, it'll work on various levels with the hormones and the biochemicals that are all adjusted so that the whole body is never in stasis. It's in a dynamic movement of being able to embrace, cohere, and constantly. It's not a one, oh, we've made it, now this is it. It's like the body. It's homeostasis is a dynamic process constantly. If you get exposed to viruses, if you get exposed to injury, or flames burn you, or ice freezes you, or whatever it is, your body's constantly, every second, it's constantly having to keep that. And to me, that's very much what the Hollow movement is. It's not exclusive at all. Its whole premise is inclusivity and coherence, and being able to be dynamically embracing, dynamically accepting and working with whatever and whoever is coming forth, just like our body is. And so I hear you very well, because we're so used to, I mean, it's always been, it seems, that when new things come up, it's kind of like, oh, okay, shift, this is now like this. But with the Hollow movement, the way I understand it, it's a complete embracing of all that is. It's saying, okay, we're all cells in the body now. You're not a random eye over there and a limb over there and the heart's up there and the brain's over there. But now let's cohere with whatever and whoever. Everybody is welcome. Sorry, I've spoken too much. Thank you. Thank you so much, Annelies, for bringing this in.
Can I speak?
Yeah, please.
Well, I recognize this in a way that I felt a very strong call of going to Ibiza. And I worked on that, and I am part of a healing journey all my life. And then sometimes you have this feeling of, yes, I belong there. I could make it money-wise, energy-wise. And then I had to work deeper inside me, because the longing of reinforcement, what you also tell us, dance together, share together, deepen out together. I feel that. And I couldn't puzzle out why I wasn't going there. I thought maybe I just joined in all this community just 1 year ago. Maybe I'm a very young new cell, still growing and weaving out, more weaving out. But I wonder what the pain is Annelies is talking about. And is this still the old frame of rich and poor, or the old financial structure, what makes us not that I could fly in my energy body? I did reconnect again. I was disappointed, I reconnect again. So in some days of that week, I connect and fly with my energy body to Ibiza. And I felt Kara, and somehow I find her. So it's a training, but the ultimate training would be that I could really travel in space, and we all could, and there's no money involved, and no whatever, no boundaries. And are we able to look there? What is the boundaries? Where is the bridge? We are now in the bridging continent, so how do we find these bridges?
Anya.
Thank you for the words on something that was wobbly in the background. So in me also is some kind of, but it's also my story, which I'm well aware of. I had been assisting a celebrity person, and now I'm just Anya. So I do know well what it is about to hold space and to bring my energy, to bring my money, to bring my love. And I'm just well aware of that I also had in mind to go to Ibiza, and that somehow there was not some kind of a connectivity point. I don't know how to describe, and also maybe I'm also a young cell in all that, just being at the outer space, coming in and just connecting here and there. And but one of the graphic recordings Kara shared really touched me. There had been written on that access to each other into funding capacities. And that's just what we talked about, reminded me on that a lot of, let me say, us people that really are focused on going to education, following something in the outer world, to be trained and to learn, is to give strength to that what we see in the outer world. And that I also, and that's very, very resonating in me, what we shared here, that somehow there is a need of reciprocity which might bring somebody on the stage, but maybe might really honor that somebody like Annelies, somebody like whoever, honor that way and path of somebody. And when we bring Hollow Movement to, for example, Europe, I would appreciate if Hollow Movement sees us. It's just a different naming. Maybe it's a different framing, but it's also like not colonizing, but walking together and sharing. That's something really deeply resonated in me with that what we had, and what I felt really in being at the sunrise. And then I saw the pictures that came with that what Kara shared in the group, and there is a connection, but we might feel it on another level as well. That's what just is in me. And I give great thanks to that connection we have. And what we might, and have it in the background, maybe can have a healing on the next new moon.
I'm looking at the time, and it's a time to stop. So I just want to ask you, Anna Marie, if there's anything you want to share, and maybe after that we can just check out with one word to put into our collective to nourish our collective.
Yeah, I can totally understand that there's a sense of not being able to be there, that's a pity. And yes, this was an event that has been designed just like Sedona, where money is involved. The people that have been invited are or have responded are people that have somehow been access to money flows to come, or are in another way supported. So that's true. As in this sense, all the resources that come out of this and everything that's built on the Holo Movement website and on Hilo and in the coming period of time is all offered for free. So there's no restrictions in that sense. And it's, it's individuals that are sponsoring part of this, sponsoring teams to be there, just like the IDG. There's one man here also, there's one man that has said, okay, as far as I can go, I will make it possible. And for the rest, I need, people and friends and whatever. And there was a red thread. One of the most powerful red threads in that was all the time coming back to how can we design systems in which all the people that are doing this great work can be resourced? How can we ensure that we create, and not only to come to this kind of event, but to be resourced in whatever they are doing, because day in, day out, like you all, the great work is being done, and somehow the financial system is not including that. So there were groups, and Kara was in that group, working on that consistently, taking next steps, coming together, new insights, and Kara was asking whether, whether there's going to be a next step. And I think definitely, promises were made to stay connected, to build on, to continue. I think it's going to happen, and we're actually highly motivated to make it happen. And also it is being woven into World Unity Week, Peace Week, whatever. So I just want to say that. And around the coherence work, I was there with the EU-funded group of people, with some of them, just a few of them, to do that research. So it was not like I am choosing some people, whatever. It's an existing container in which things is being done. So yeah, I can understand. And the idea is that what Juliet was saying, that we can see how it's not, there is also not that, Emmanuel is not that a rich man, that he can just hold the space and build it. And we're looking for the others that have that can really contribute to that. But that's not the case now. And the people that have been there, yes, a lot of them come out of the evolutionary leaders and other contexts that are able to make it happen, that we can be there and that the things can happen. So but I hear the longing and and I also know, I would say lucky that I'm there. And I wish I could do it differently, and I can do as much as I can to bring everything that we do here, and also to see how we can weave it back and how we can ensure that it is coming and that there are these ways of including, and that I hope that we can really do in Europe, also other contexts, other events, other ways of working. But we'll have to do it ourselves. It's not an organization.
I do a simple hand suggestion as Bridging Continents since one of the new moon ceremonies. There's so many traditions where hands are used for mantras, and maybe we can do that together. That was my checkout.
Maybe that's a good note to end on and just put that feeling into our group.
Gratitude. Thank you so much.